This is my one-arm YouTube studio, and this is how I put it together. Before I go into my current setup, let's just rewind a little bit. Way back at the end of 2016, I made a video called DIY ring light for under 20 quid. If you haven't seen it and you want to check it out, I will link it in the card above and the description below. In that video, I had two main aims. One of which, if you hadn't guessed by the title of the video, was to make a DIY ring light, thus improving my lighting situation and doing it on a budget. The second was to have my entire setup on one stand. This worked fine for a while. I had the camera on a tripod, I had the ring light surrounding the lens, and I had a friction arm attached to one of the legs holding my audio recorder and a microphone. Everything on one stand. Thumbs up. The problem with this setup was that the light wasn't quite as good as I thought it was going to be, and I still had to set up a tripod every time I wanted to shoot. It took up a lot of space and I didn't have a lot of space. Although it was all on one stand, I still had to set it up and take it down every time. So I ended up changing the setup several times, in fact. Different lights, several tripods. I basically didn't have the gear to get the setup that I wanted. Fast forward to the end of 2019 and I saw a video by Caleb Pike from DSLR Video Shooter. The video was called Full YouTube Studio on One Single Stand, and I will leave it linked in the description below. If you haven't seen it, go and check it out. In that video he made a rig where he had camera, lights and audio all attached to one rolling stand. The problem with this was, whilst it was awesome, it was quite expensive. So that didn't work for me either. Caleb also made a follow-up video called Entire YouTube Studio Setup on One Desk. I will also leave that linked below if you want to check that out. All this to say, it reminded me how much I wanted to have my setup on one stand. So back here in the present in 2020, I shoot all my videos sitting at a desk. It's out shot here, but I assure you it's holding everything. I decided that I would come up with a rig that was desk mounted so that I could save on some floor space. I didn't have a huge budget to put this rig together, and some of the items that Caleb used were reasonably expensive, although my setup I wouldn't say is cheap. But it's affordable. Bear in mind, some of the items that are attached to the rig I have had for years. So let's take a look at the rig. The key component of the rig is the mount, and being the key component gave me a little idea. Why don't I use the Elgato Key Light? See what I did there? Key. The Elgato Key Light is an edge-lit LED panel that's primarily aimed at streamers. It is a diffused panel. It's very, very bright. It goes up to 2800 lumens, and as an example, right now it's only on 24%, so it's pretty bright. It's bi-color, and because it's aimed at streamers, you're able to get it really close to your face and still get a nice diffused light. But if the key component is the mount, why did I start by talking about the light? Well, the Elgato Key Light actually comes with a mount that mounts to a desk. The mount itself is height adjustable. It's a two-stage telescopic design, allowing you to go to a maximum height of 1.25 meters or 49 inches from the height of the desk. The minimum height is 55 centimeters or 22 inches. So because it comes with a mount that's attached to a desk, I thought this would be perfect. It already comes with a light on the top, and it means that I can use it as the basis for the rest of my rig. The key light has a ball head of sorts on the top of the mount, which allows you to position the light exactly as you want it. The key light is controlled via Wi-Fi using either a Mac or PC or an iOS device. Sorry, no Android support at this stage. The second piece of the puzzle also comes from Elgato, and I should point out at this stage that they are not sponsoring me. I paid for all of this equipment. This is not a sponsored video. I just happened to think that the gear was going to suit my needs. The second piece is the Elgato Solid Arm. This is quite a new product in the range, and it's basically a pole that has a clamp on one end and a ball head on the other. And this is designed to attach to the mount that you get with the key light, so that you can attach additional things like, for instance, a camera. Now there is a weight limit on this arm, and I think it's about 2.2 kilograms. In any case, it was way under the weight of my camera. I'm shooting on the Panasonic GH5 with a 25mm f1.7 lens. It's pretty small prime lens and it's pretty light. Overall, the camera I think is about a kilogram, so it's way under the weight limit. I've attached the solid arm halfway up the mount for the key light. On the end of the solid arm, I have attached another product from Elgato, which is the flex arm kit. Now this is all part of a system, so it's all designed to work together. So this is why I bought all of the kit from them. The flex arm kit is 4 different size sections of extension that can be added to the mount that comes with the key light, or if you buy the mount separately. To the solid arm, I've added the longest extension, and on the end of that I have added a JOBY ball head. This is one of their smaller ball heads. It's plenty beefy enough to hold the GH5. The GH5 is not a particularly heavy camera, particularly with the lens I'm using. I don't really like big heavy tripod plates on the bottom of my camera. That is my ball head of choice. I have one on the end of this mount, I have one on the end of my overhead shooting rig. That is the one I like to use. So that takes care of lighting and camera. For audio, I decided to use a cheap friction arm. I clamped that below the solid arm. The clamp that comes with the arm has 2 mounting points. In one of the mounting points I have mounted a Zoom H1 audio recorder, and in the other mounting point is where I've attached the friction arm. On the end of the friction arm is the Rode Video Micro, which is connected directly into the Zoom H1, and that gives me a bit of adjustment on where the microphone is placed and allows me to see the screen of the recorder. So that's audio. And finally, because of the lens I'm using on my GH5, I've had to place the camera reasonable distance away from me. So it's quite difficult to see the flip screen. So I decided I would add a second friction arm that could hold my phone closer to me, so that I can use it as a monitor with the Panasonic image app that allows you to operate the camera from your phone. The other good thing about this setup is if your desk is pushed up against the wall, the light and the mount are able to still attach to the desk. If you have a camera that's got a wide angle lens that can get you in frame whilst it's up against the wall, then that's perfect. I personally don't have a lens that allows me to get the camera any closer at this point in time, but that's fine because my desk is not up against the wall. The whole rig is fairly solid, but obviously it's attached to the desk, so if you wobble the desk that you're sitting at, you can see that the camera's going to shake. So I made sure I used a fairly sturdy desk. It's actually from IKEA. Again, I will link all these products down below if you want to check them out. But generally speaking, as long as you're not banging into the table, it's going to be pretty solid. If you like this video, then give me a thumbs up. If you would like more of this type of content, then hit that subscribe button. While you're down there, why not hit the bell? Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.